see what are the forces required in rolling operation. Okay. So the topic is force and power in rolling. Force and power in rolling operation. So what happens is, at all the points, from here the deformation has started, and at this point the deformation has ended, right? So at all the points, some force is acting. At all the points, some force is acting. Okay. This force is acting at every instant. So what we do is we approximate it by using a single force. We approximate it by using a single force, which we call as F average. Which we call as F average. And this F average is the average rolling force. This F average is the average rolling force. It is acting at a distance. This distance was the length of the deformation zone, right? So you can see the F average is acting at a certain fraction of the length of deformation zone. It is acting at a certain fraction of the length of deformation zone. What I am saying here is, throughout the rolling operation, the force is acting at multiple points. The force is acting at multiple points, but instead of analyzing it by using that multiple points, we are analyzing it by taking an average force. Which is acting at a certain distance from the center. This was the center of the rollers. And F average is the average rolling force. So how do we find F average? Whenever we want to find force, we multiply the stress or the pressure with area. We multiply the stress or the pressure by area. Let us say there is an average pressure P. That is acting by the rollers onto the component. Okay. Let's say P average is the average pressure into the area will give us F average. So P average is equal to average pressure acting on the component. P is the average pressure acting on the component by the rollers. So first we need to find out the P average. P average is given as (2 by root 3 sigma F bar times 1 plus mu L upon 4H. P average is given by 2 by root 3 sigma F bar. What was sigma F bar? Last class we have seen sigma F bar is the average flow stress. It is 2 by root 3 sigma F times 1 plus mu L upon 4H. What is L? L is the length of the deformation zone. Here, H. Let's take small h, since throughout the chapter we have used the small h. Which H is it? Is it H0? Is it H1? It is the average H. H is equal to H0 plus H1 by 2. H is equal to H0 plus H1 by 2. Now, no need to get scared by looking at this expression. This expression has not been asked in the exam. This expression or the question based on this expression has not been asked in the exam. But the thing is, it can be asked. Okay. So you have to memorize. What they have asked in the exam is, under ideal case, they have asked in the exam in which they have not given the value of mu. So, if mu is not given, that is a condition under no friction, in in that case, P average directly became equal to P average is directly equal to sigma F bar. P average is directly equal to sigma F bar. So question has once come based on this. Question has once come based on this. It has not come based on this, but still it is simple. I will suggest you to memorize this. Whenever you are stuck with any difficult expression, my suggestion is always to write the expression 10 times. Okay? Automatically it will enter into your mind. Okay? Write the expression 10 times, and before sleeping, just go through the expression. Okay? There's something called a subconscious mind. Automatically it will enter your mind. If mu isn't there, reduction will be equal to 0, because delta H is equal to mu square R. Yeah, if you look at it that way, mu will become equal to 0. There we are talking about delta H max. If mu is 0, no, it won't be like that, Danish. If mu is 0, the reduction will not be equal to 0. The reduction will depend upon how much compression you are applying by the rollers. It will depend upon how much compression you are applying by the rollers. And anyways, mu is never equal to 0. Okay, this is just an ideal case. This is just an ideal case for our analysis. Copied? Now we have found the P average. We have found the expression for P average. Daniel is asking, the balancing force is also frictional force. If mu is 0, we have to keep pushing the component. Yeah, if mu is 0, the component will not get pulled itself. Right? We'll have to give some external push. And Danish's question is, the balancing force is also frictional force. Danish, frictional force is not a balancing force. It is a pulling force. We have found P average. Now we need to find F average. From pressure, if you want to find the force, you will have to multiply area. You will have to multiply the area, right? So, it is P average into which area? Into which area? We take the projected area of this portion. What you will think is, sir, we'll take this area of the component. You may think that we will be taking this area of the component, but instead we take the projected area. How much is the projected area? This is the width and this is the length. Right? This is the length. So we take a projected area. Why we are taking projected area is, because we are approximating that F average is perfectly perpendicular, and for approximating that, what we are assuming is that this portion, this curved portion is nearly straight. Throughout the questions that we have solved till now, you have seen that the value of delta H is very small. So therefore, what we are doing here is we are approximating this curve to be a straight line. And since we are approximating the curve to be a straight line, we are getting F average as perfectly perpendicular. And therefore, F average will become equal to P average into projected area. Then 2 by root 3. Achha, where is 2 by root 3? In that expression, if you put mu is equal to 0, you should get P averages 2 by root 3 into sigma F bar. You'll get 2 by root 3 into sigma F bar. Right? So these people are asking, sir, where is this 2 by root 3? So what happens is, if you find the value of 2 by root 3, you'll get it as 1.15. This value of 1.15 they are ignoring. This value of 0.15 they have ignored, and simply we get P average as equal to sigma F bar. Okay. So this is what has been established as the industry, throughout the industry. Okay. So if you look at any standard book like Kalpak Jian or NPTEL, simply you will get P average is equal to sigma F bar. So please take this expression, don't take it as 2 by root 3. Okay. So how much is the projected area? F average becomes equal to P average into B into L. What is L? L is the length of the deformation zone. L is the length of the deformation zone. It is equal to root over of R delta H. And B is the width of the component. It is equal to root over of R delta H. Okay. Now you have found the force, average force. How do you find the power? From force, how do you find the power? What do you have to find first? For finding power, first you will have to find the torque. First you will have to find the torque. Torque is what? Torque is equal to the average force. In any case, the torque is equal to the force multiplied by the distance at which the force is acting from the center. So here we are having F average. It is acting at a distance taken as lambda L. It is taken as lambda L. Oh, this is also black pen. Achha, black is, sorry. So it is acting at a distance of lambda L. So torque becomes equal to F average into lambda L. F average into lambda L. Okay, this is what the torque is equal to. Here lambda is called as the arm factor. Lambda is called as arm factor. It is 0.45 for cold rolling and it is equal to 0.5 for hot rolling. Lambda is equal to arm factor. Lambda is called as arm factor. It is equal to 0.45 for cold rolling and 0.5 for hot rolling. And rolling by default is hot rolling operation. Rolling is generally carried out in, that is above recrystallization temperature. Okay. So this is the torque. Let's write this also by default. So it means in the question, if they have not mentioned the value of arm factor, in the question they have not mentioned the value of arm factor, then you will have to look whether it is a cold rolling operation or is it a hot rolling operation. If it is cold rolling, you will get 0.45, you will take 0.45, and if it is hot rolling, you will take it as 0.5. And if nothing is mentioned, you will take it as 0.5. You will simply take it as 0.5. Okay. But these things where you have to memorize this data, this kind of questions are rarely asked. Okay. In the gate, mostly they give us all the value of constants. Whichever constant we have to take in the solution, the gate will give us those values. Okay. So force you have calculated, torque you have calculated. From torque, how do you calculate power? Power is equal to 2 pi nt by 60. Power is equal to 2 pi nt by 60. Okay. Is it the right expression? Please tell me, is it the right expression for rolling? Rolling power is equal to 2 pi nt by 60. This is the power for only one roller. This is the power for only one roller. Since we are using two rollers, we'll multiply this by 2. So 2 pi nt by 60 into 2 is the rolling power. It is the rolling power. Okay guys, so this is the expression. Rolling power is equal to 2 pi nt by 60 into 2. These are all the rolling forces and rolling powers. Okay. Now, as a mechanical engineer, it is your responsibility to design efficient systems. As a mechanical engineer, it is your responsibility to design efficient systems, less power consuming systems. Right? So, if you want to reduce the power consumption, you will have to reduce the torque. And to reduce the torque, you will have to reduce the average force. To reduce torque, first to reduce power, we reduce. So what are the different ways in which you can reduce the F average? What are the different ways in which you can reduce the average force? To reduce the rolling force, Vishwas is saying reduce roll diameter. That is a very good answer. Why is it, Visesh? L. Okay, L decreases. Yeah, that is right. L will decrease. When we are reducing the roller radius, we are reducing the contact area. When we are reducing the contact area, the average force will reduce. The average force will reduce. Right? One thing is, F average was calculated from P average. And in the expression of P average, you can see what comes? The average flow stress comes. The average flow stress comes, right? Hence, we can decrease the average flow stress. The average flow stress, decreasing the average flow stress means decreasing the yield strength. So we can say decrease the yield strength. How do we decrease the yield strength? How do we decrease the yield strength? Decrease the yield strength, it will decrease. It will be achieved by hot rolling. The second point is reduce the roller radius. Reduce the roller radius. What happens when you reduce the roller radius? When you reduce the roller radius, the contact area will reduce into area was there, right? So area will decrease, F average will decrease. It decreases the contact area. But there is a problem. There is E. Okay. What happens is when you decrease the roller radius, the load bearing area of the roller is also decreasing. When you decrease the roller radius, the load bearing area of the roller is also decreasing. So therefore, high chances are there that the roller may bend. The roller may bend because of the high pressure acting on a reduced area. So what we do is we give some external support to the rollers in the form of bigger rollers. For example, for reducing the thickness, if you are using smaller rollers, let's say you are using smaller rollers. So to support these smaller rollers, we will use bigger rollers. These are called as backup rollers. Okay. So please write down. When the roller radius is reduced, its load bearing capacity decreases. When the roller radius is reduced, its load bearing capacity decreases, and hence there is a high chance that the roller may bend. Therefore, some external support must be given to the roller. This external support is given in the form of bigger rollers. Called as backup rollers. This external support is given in the form of bigger rollers called as backup rollers. No external power supply is given to the backup rollers. What about d times of 1 minus cos alpha? Acha, delta H is reducing. Ernest is saying delta H is reducing because we are reducing the roller radius. Okay, and that's not a problem. Here we are mostly concerned about reducing the force. Okay, if delta H is decreasing, that's not a problem. Here we are more concerned about decreasing the force. obviously there will be some collateral in that. Delta reduces, then what's the benefit of using this small rollers? We can pass the same component through multiple number of rollers. We can pass the same component through multiple number of rollers, or same rollers. Through the same rollers, the component can be passed from multiple number of times. Okay, it won't affect the power consumption. It will have slight effect. It will have slight effect, but obviously the reduction in power consumption will reduce the delta H value. Okay, so you won't simply use this alone. You won't simply use this alone. What you are doing here, you are decreasing the yield strength. So this will also increase the delta H value, right? This will also increase the delta H value. So only one thing won't be done. All different things will be done together. Like here, in total I am going to write 4 steps. Okay, so all of them together are going to perform the operation, but consume more time though. Yeah, Vivek, it will consume more time. Okay, see, one thing we are reducing the F average for reducing the power consumption. Okay, there is some other reason also to reduce the F average. Okay, there is some other reason also to reduce the F average. What is that reason? I'll show you in some time. Please wait for 5 or 10 minutes. Okay, it is not always necessary that we are reducing the F average only for power consumption. There are some other reasons also. I'll show you. Please wait. Third one is by reducing the value of mu. Reducing the value of mu. In the expression you can see there was 1 plus mu L upon 4H. This was the expression for 2 by root 3 sigma F bar P average is equal to 2 by root 3 sigma F bar. So by reducing mu also we can reduce P average. By reducing mu also we can reduce P average. By reducing the value of mu. I write mu here. And the fourth one is by using, so what is front and back tension? What happens is we pull the component like this. We apply some load in this direction. We apply some load in the opposite direction. Okay, we are pulling the component. Now because of Poisson's ratio effect, what will happen to delta H? The delta H will increase. When the value of delta H increases, you will have to apply lesser force. Okay. So by using front and back tension, the delta H reduces. Lesser force will have to be applied. Okay. The sigma 1 value is called as front tension. Sigma 2 is called as back tension. See, what is happening here is I am saying that the component is given a pull from the front and from the back. When the component is given a pull from the front and the back, because of Poisson's ratio, what will happen to its thickness? Because of Poisson's ratio, the thickness will reduce. And when the thickness is reducing, you will have to apply lesser force. And hence F average will reduce. It would have been drawing, Danish, only if when you are just pulling. In drawing you pull, right? But here we are applying the pulling load from both the directions. Okay, that's why you can't call it as drawing plus rolling. Copied? So what is Newton's third law? Newton's third law is every action has equivalent opposite reaction. Right? So since F average is the force applied by rollers onto the component, Same force will be applied by component onto the rollers. Same force will be applied by component onto the rollers. So, please write down, rather than writing all this, please write down. According to Newton's third law, according to Newton's third law, according to Newton's third law, every action has equal and opposite reaction. Every action has equal and opposite reaction. According to Newton's third law, every action has equal and opposite reaction. Therefore, the rolling force that was applied by component, therefore the rolling force that was applied by roller, therefore the rolling force that was applied by rollers, therefore the rolling force that was applied by the rollers onto the component will be applied by component onto the rollers, This force will try to displace the rollers. This force will try to displace the rollers. This force will try to displace the rollers, and hence it is called as roll separating force. And hence it is called as roll separating force. Okay. So in the exam, if they ask you find the roll separating force, don't get scared. Roll separating force is nothing but F average. Roll separating force is nothing but F average. Okay. What I am telling here is roll separating force is a force applied by component onto the rollers. Because of that, the rollers will tend to get displaced. Therefore, it is also called as the roll separating force, RSF, on bearings. Let's have a look, Danish, how it will appear. See, if this is a side view of the rollers and the component, and you look at the component from the front, how it will look? We'll have two rollers in the form of cylinders. And in between we'll have the component. Now what I am saying is the component is applying some force onto the rollers, like this. So let's go back to the kind of loads and the kind of beams. In strength of material, you might have studied different kind of loads, you might have studied different kind of beams. So here, the rollers are behaving like what kind of beams? So how are they fixed? Fixed beams are not able to move. Remember, there were some beams that are hinged at both the ends. So this is also hinged at both the ends. That's why it is able to rotate. Right? So it is simply supported beam. Very good, guys. So here the rollers are behaving like simply supported beams, and the load is uniformly distributed load. The load is uniformly distributed load, UDL, and the roller is acting like simply supported beam. Okay. So when a UDL acts on a simply supported beam, what kind of bending takes place is, if you see the deflection diagram, this kind of bending will take place. Whenever a uniformly distributed load acts on a simply supported beam, this kind of deflection will take place. So what is happening here is, the rollers are bending, right? So in between some gap will be created, and this gap will get filled by the material. This gap will get filled by the material, and because of that, what will happen is, the material will become of non-uniform thickness. The material will become non-uniform in thickness. Let's say this was the material. Now it has become. So some of you had a doubt, sir, why are we reducing the F average at the expense of delta H? Why are we reducing F average at the expense of delta H? So this is also one reason. If the F average is reduced, less bending will take place. Less bending will take place. Right? Please write down. Please continue. The role separating force. The role separating force. The role separating force is acting as uniformly distributed load. Is acting as uniformly distributed load. Is acting as uniformly distributed load on the rollers, which themselves are acting as simply supported beams. Which themselves are acting as simply supported beams. This leads to the bending of rollers. This leads to the bending of rollers, and the gap between the rollers gets filled by the material, and the gap between the rollers gets filled by the material, hence leading to non-uniform thickness of the component, So what do we do to get uniform thickness of the component? What should we do to get uniform thickness of the component? What should be done to get uniform thickness? We are going to make the rollers convex in shape. We'll make the rollers convex in shape so that we'll get uniform thickness in the component. And this is called as cambering of rollers. So further write down. To get uniform thickness of the component, the rollers are made convex in shape. This is called as cambering of rollers. Okay. On the secondary screen, you can see this question has been asked once. In engineering service, it has been asked. In order to get uniform thickness of plate by rolling process, one provides camber on the rolls. Okay. Okay, guys. Take a break for 15 minutes. We'll continue after 15 minutes. Okay.